Alright, so today we're talking about John Carpenter's Toxic Commandos. It doesn't really actually have that much to do with John Carpenter. I'll get into that later. So, this game is a good example of how having good gameplay can still result in a mediocre game when everything else in the game is subpar. It feels kind of weird how this game is able to do something as good as combine the smooth shooting and interesting gear and traps of the COD zombies with Left 4 Dead's cinematic level design and massive hordes, and somehow it's less than the sum of its parts. Don't get me wrong, this game definitely has its moments, but it desperately needs a better story, better aesthetics, and that spark of intrigue that made its inspirations so special. So let's dig into that gameplay. The shooting feels pretty good, and it's just right for a zombie killing experience. You can use a couple of different grenades and other types of gear that are fun to use. There are also different COD zombie style traps and also some mounted weapons you can unlock with the scrap resource that you can find around the map. And all those things are good for giving you a leg up when the game sends massive hordes of zombies at you. It's a good system. One of the most unique mechanics in this game is the vehicles, which you don't see too often in zombie games. There are a couple of different types of vehicles with different abilities that are good for getting around the map. Sometimes there's muddy areas that can slow the cars down, but some of the vehicles have winches, and they basically would work as car grappling hooks that can help get you out of the mud. The winches can also be used to open supply boxes and trunks of cars and stuff. Overall, the winch is actually a surprisingly fun mechanic. Even if you're just a passenger in the vehicles, it's still pretty fun. Zombies can run nearly as fast as the cars, so you'll be busy fighting them off while you're trying to get away. Doing that is probably the funnest part of the game. Before we get into the rest of it, if you like fighting off hordes, check this out. What Happens After Midnight, my action survival horror game, is available right now. You're sent to investigate the town of Nightvale and quickly find out interdimensional forces are invading our world. Hop between worlds, meet strange characters, and survive cosmic horrors once you find out what happens after midnight. Also, any feedback is greatly appreciated. The enemies are good, the unique infected are decently interesting and fun to fight, and even the normal infected can feel intimidating when in very large groups. When it comes to making your gun loadout, you get full access to every gun at the start of the game, and you have to level up the guns to get more attachments and stuff. I think there probably should have been at least some unlockable guns, because as it is, the system kind of encourages you to pick one gun and stick with it. There's also the skills system. All the skill upgrades are based around one of 4 abilities that you can switch between. The upgrades either enhance the abilities or provide passive buffs. It's generally good, but again, since all the ability skill trees level up individually, it encourages you to pick one and stick with it. The level design is pretty good. Each level is its own small open world where you can stray off the beaten path and find helpful resources. Towards the end of each level, you'll be funneled into a more linear section with some good Left 4 Dead vibes, especially at the very end, where you always end up fighting these giant hordes with a ton of zombies in them. Mowing down waves of these things feels very epic and cinematic. Now let's get into the boring parts of the game, starting with the story. Firstly, I want to clarify, this game being labeled as John Carpenter's Toxic Commandos is more or less just a marketing ploy, and I believe the only thing he actually worked on was the music, which admittedly is good because he makes good music. The story itself is pretty generic. An evil corporation got greedy, dug too deep, unearthed an ancient evil, and a ragtag group of anti-heroes have to save the day. Pretty much described the entire plot right there. There's not really much else to it. Stories can work with a simple plot if they have good characters, but this game doesn't really have any. I'll go ahead and describe the player characters right now. There's the one with the snarky attitude, A, B, C, and D, and that's pretty much it. They're just generic snarky people, and all the other characters are weak archetypes with no passion behind them. The aesthetics are also pretty boring. They're not going for realism, but it doesn't feel like they're going for any particular style either. Overall, the visuals are just kind of there. Some of the zombie designs are okay, and as I said, the music was good. Other than that, it's very generic. To top it all off, it's short for a modern game, even a $40 one. It's supposedly 8 to 10 hours long, but it felt like 5 to 8 to me. Maybe I was just playing with fast groups. Overall, I will say this was a fairly good game, but with all its fun gameplay mechanics, it really could have been great. It just needed a better story, aesthetics, and again that special spark of entry. And I'm gonna give it a 7.72. Thank you to anyone who likes, comments, or subscribes. That's it.